process, we want to create a space for artisans, makers, farmers, and producers to come and bring what they make to the table to share with all of you. Today, I am super excited to have this quite magical guest here, Caitlin Tupper, and she is a professional artist. And we're gonna learn about how she has art, B, magic, and also how she has been able to turn her creative endeavors into a profession. Thank you so much for coming, Caitlin.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
It is. Are you having a happy new year?
I am. It's been really good so far, really productive.
And hopefully this will make it even happier.
I'd say so.
Your art is so happy, and I'm glad to be able to present it to Spencer, because you are a true Spencerite. You live right here in Spencer, and you bought a house like 5 or 6 years ago, is that right?
5 to 6. I think we're going on the 6th year in the house.
How do you like Spencer?
I absolutely love it out here.
I do too.
It's great.
Yes, it is great. So you also do some homesteading, right? You have a few chickens.
I do have a few chickens.
Yes.
I'd say it's a modest homestead is definitely a generous term for it, but we're definitely about conscious living whenever we can be. We have the chickens, grow as much of our own food as we can. So I really enjoy that aspect.
I noticed you had some fruit trees, you had some raised garden beds, you had a nice compost, and the chickens were helping with all of your, sustainable living.
Yes,
So that's great. So I was noticing that you try to be as environmentally conscious as possible by, not having single-use plastics, maybe not having packaged food as much as possible. And since plastic is, the only waste product you all are creating, could you go into how you use and upcycle this plastic into your art?
Yes, so that was actually a more recent development for sure. I was part of the Impact show in Arts Worcester, and the challenge there was to depict how humans impact the environment. So I was looking around my studio and I had all of this single-use plastic that was just accumulating from just living and existing, and thought that it would be a really nice add to my work, which I already try to work in different textures and different materials. So it really made for that piece, which is actually behind me, Detonation, just give it a little bit extra meaning, where I could put like trash or things I would have ordinarily thrown away and make it into something else, like art that you can put up on your wall.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So you're not just a professional artist, you're also a gallery artist. You have many facets of your art that combine to make you a professional artist, which I think our viewers at home are really curious about how you became a professional artist. So this is your gallery work. Would you mind talking about some of the shows that you've done?
Sure. So for gallery shows, it's been a recent development, I'd say over the past year or two. So I started with 2 group shows at Arts Worcester, the Impact show being my first.
Nice.
Then I did another one called One, and that was where all of the members of Arts Worcester could select one piece that they wanted to display the most, and it would all get displayed in like a group gallery setting. And then recently in October, I did my first ever solo show at the Ruth Wells Center for the Arts in Southbridge.
How exciting.
It was incredible. It was in October. We got to do like a costume party with it. So the opening had like a masquerade, and it was just a really fun time. The reason why I called it Cast Shadows is because, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of my work is very positive and whimsical and magical, and a lot of it draws on inspiration from nature. And then you have this other aspect to it where, you have nature being destroyed by natural events, pollution, everything like that, and I wanted that to come across in the multimedia pieces as well. Kind of like the darker aspect of nature, where it's beautiful, it's lovely, but it's also, chaotic and destructive.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's part of creation, right?
Exactly. Yes.
It's a full circle.
Right. Yes.
So when you we went to your studio and we got to see where the magic happens. You were mentioning that a lot of your influence came from your grandmother, who would do fondant cakes, and that you just loved making roses and other nature, ode to nature designs with this fondant. Can you talk a little bit more about your background and what led you to being a professional artist?
Absolutely. So about that note, that was specific to my work with polymer clay. So
Yes.
the reason why I took to polymer clay so fast is because, yes, the fondant, it was just so much fun to play with it and to see like all the different things that you could make with it. I was already comfortable doing multimedia artwork with paper and all different kinds of materials, but polymer added like an extra little level of freedom because you can just sculpt really whatever you want. And then of course, like growing up playing with like Play-Doh and all of that fun stuff, it was just really nice to be able to take that and then add like another dimension to my work as well.
And there's so many colors.
There's so many colors.
Yes, there are so
Yes.
many fun colors.
So many different combinations of colors and sparkly, everything. It was
Yeah,
great.
so I actually met you at one of your pop-ups. We were doing
did.
a little Christmas shopping at a Christmas market for my sister-in-law. She's obsessed with gnomes, so we were just really taken to your booth, and I wanted to order some custom-made items here because I'm a alpaca farmer, and I have this cool terrarium that I wanted to stick these in, and he sparkles.
He does.
It's so adorable. And you did such a good job. You said you had never done an alpaca before.
Never done an alpaca.
And I was just saying how much you nailed it, and just the little details
Thank you.
and the beautiful colors, and I'm just so excited about this. And I just love that you do custom work. That's part of the wonder of art, right? You
Absolutely.
can make whatever your imagination or anybody else's imagination desires, right?
That's one of my favorite aspects of it, is taking on custom projects or working on something that is special for someone, and they have this idea but they can't necessarily bring it to life on their own. So I love taking that and making it real for them.
Yes.
Just love that.
The other thing I noticed too when we were looking at your beautiful gnomes is a real passion of yours is expressing diversity. Could you talk a little bit about that mission through your art?
Absolutely. Yeah, inclusivity, diversity, it's huge for me. And then with gnomes, I love the idea of being able to capture different personalities and the different qualities of people, and bring them into these little characters. And the thing is like there's so much diversity in life that is just, that's the beautiful thing about life, is everybody's different.
Yes.
Everybody has their own traits and their own, quirks, their personalities, and they need to be present in the art. If they were all the same, it just would lose that soul. So I
Yes.
want to make sure that that comes through in my pieces, that people can look, no matter really who you are, and see either your friend or like your sister or your brother, or like your friend who this gnome is perfect for whoever.
Yes,
But
I
yeah.
was noticing that, if you got an uncle who cooks,
Exactly.
there's Uncle Luigi there. I'm going to get this for him. He'll really appreciate it.
Exactly.
So you were also talking about how you have a full-time creative professional job. So let's rewind a little bit. You have an art degree. Talk about a little bit of your credentials, if you will.
Absolutely. So I graduated with a BFA in design from the Art Institute of Boston, which is now Leslie College of Art and Design.
Amazing.
Yes, and I did also have the opportunity to study psychology while I was there as well, so I have a minor in psychology, which really strengthened my design degree, just because it helps me to better understand who I'm talking to, like how to convey different concepts through my visuals. So it really just makes the body of work a little bit richer. But the good thing about Leslie is it gave me the opportunity to collaborate with a lot of different people, like from different business degrees, from illustration to painting, and just really allowed you to just really explore all different aspects of the field.
Yeah, and I can't help but mention what an uplifting quality, especially your polymer work with the gnomes. It really is a happy-go-lucky, make you smile kind of medium. And you were talking about how you have a coworker who has an entire collection.
I do,
and
yes.
It made me kind of feel like those rubber duckies that have like all the different, colors and personalities and things of that nature. So we kind of came up with a tagline for you, which is "Can't collect them all."
You can't collect them all. I'm going to make them all a little bit different.
Yes,
so.
Which is what is so cool about it.
Thank you.
Now, can we go back to your gallery?
Sure.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about how you're upcycling this single-use plastic. I know that Mylar balloons are like, they never disintegrate. So I just love what you did here. Would you mind talking a little bit about your inspiration and how you are repurposing this trash into art?
Absolutely. So this was, this piece is called Everything is Fine. And it was one of the key pieces for the Cast Shadows exhibit. The balloon was actually gifted to me because over the summer I had broken my leg. So I had got this as a gift from my awesome coworkers, and it was deflating. It was still in my studio. I wanted to still use it, and I was still actively working on the pieces for the gallery. So what it really said to me was, like, it almost looked a little bit melancholy when it was deflated, but it's just such an iconic symbol. I wanted to work it into this piece. So exactly as you were saying, I had like these recycled bags, bunch of like just trash bubble wrap from my studio, and I wanted to just, I stuffed the balloon with it to give it that extra little dimension there, but basically,
you did a great job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
The goal of the piece was to show that it's like, there's the happy facade, but in the background sometimes there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of destruction.
Right.
I think
going behind
exactly
the surface, right?
Right.
Yes. Which goes into your psychology minor, right? Mm-hmm. Yes.
You'll see a lot of duality in my work.
Yes.
So I like to play with the balance of that positivity and then also the destruction, the creation and the destruction.
Right.
Yeah, and finding the beautiful balance between them.
Yes. It always odes to nature.
Mm-hmm.
Both
Always.
your gallery and your polymer. Would you call this sculpting?
I would call that sculpting, yes. Yeah.
And you're kind of sculpting in your gallery work as well.
Absolutely, yes.
Would you want to talk a little bit about this piece here? Where
Sure.
you have I think you have caps.
I do, yes. I've got a couple bottle caps in there. I've got some packing peanuts.
Oh, nice.
Some, like the drink rings, I guess. I'm not sure what you call those. There's just a bunch here. Lots of different plastics, bottoms of the bottles. I think there's a couple egg crates in there, some acrylic pieces, and then also some like straws as well. So just thinking of all of the different trash that like we come into contact with every day.
And with humans, it was kind of an explosion, this kind of convenience movement in addition, like through the 1940s and 50s with these plastic conveniences. It caught on so fast that it did kind of explode into our culture, and we're still dealing with the ramifications today. I did notice how passionate you and your partner are about climate change and being conscious about offsetting our carbon footprint. So would you want to talk a little bit about how you're trying to communicate this message through your art?
Absolutely. I know it's always a sensitive topic when you talk about climate change.
Yes.
And you'll get people where they don't want to talk about it, they don't want to accept any accountability, just because the reality is there's a lot that, is happening that we don't necessarily have control over, like you yourself, myself.
Right.
I'm not saying that like we are like individually, like you, Allison, are at fault for this whole climate change because of how you're living your life.
Right.
But what my art really is, it's about, my story and what I'm going to be doing like to make a positive change. Like it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be this grandiose thing, but if I can do something small, like instead of throwing that one bottle away, I can find a way to use it.
Right.
Like instead of throwing away those packing peanuts, I can find a way to use it. Like even something that small, I think cumulatively can make a big impact.
Yeah,
So-
and it's really not about blame. It's more about realizing that there are certain things that you can control, and there's very little thing like that you actually can control, but your own choice and your own conscious repurposing, I think, is your message, is that you don't have to feel bad about it. You just kind of have to be conscious, be aware about it, and see what you can do to really upcycle
Yeah, like I mean,
these items.
there's like a lot we could be doing. Obviously, like as a human race, there's a lot we could be doing. But all of that aside, it doesn't take away from all of the small steps that you're making on an individual level.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what you can do as an individual in small, little, tiny ways, as long as you kind of do it every day.
Exactly.
Yes. And it can be fun, which
can be,
is
yeah.
and make your dreams come true, which
have a
seems
blast.
to be happening with you.
Absolutely.
So can we talk a little bit, so you went to college, you graduated. Can we kind of continue with your art journey a little bit? You were saying that you got hired pretty quickly out of college. Why don't you talk a little bit about that and how you moved into your full-time professional career?
Absolutely. So I started at a small agency in Harvard Square, Bold Everything. And you know, the two people I worked with, they were so great. It was a very nice, small, personal environment. So it allowed me to, right out of school, get the opportunity to get my feet wet, like get my hands into some professional projects, get some, you know, really good experience. Eventually, you know, the commute of traveling out to Boston, I want to be a little bit closer to home, which is when I started taking a look at just some of the other agencies that were in the area after, I think, a year and a half at Bold Everything. It was a really great time for me, just like learning and developing myself as an artist. They were very supportive. And then eventually I applied to New Perspective, which was in Westboro at the time. We are now fully remote, and we have our headquarters in Worcester. So it was a lot closer to home for me. I started there, and I've been there for, it's going to be 10 years in July. So this is really like my second family. I absolutely love being at New Perspective.
Can you talk a little bit about new perspectives? Because all of your art seems to dovetail into an environmentally conscious way of life. And New Perspectives is a company that really fosters to an environmentally conscious corporation.
Correct, yeah. So New Perspective Marketing, we're a clean tech marketing agency. We work in the digital space doing branding and website design and, you know, paid advertising, all of the social media marketing. And we work with primarily clients that are clean tech, meaning that they are either working on a technology or they're selling a product or a service that really helps to better the environment. Which is really exciting, just because it gives like an extra level of just soul to the work that I do. I love being able to do what I love and also do it for a good cause. People who are aligned in our core values. So it's really a great opportunity being there.
I think a lot of people have to compromise their values in order to, you know, make a daily living. So it's so inspiring to hear that you have been able to, right from the start, kind of stick to your values and meanwhile manifest your dreams.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's such an inspiration to so many individuals out there, young and old, who really wanted to make their passion a reality. And you seem to be able to do that, which is so amazing.
Absolutely. My biggest piece of advice to anyone looking for just a professional career in art is just, I mean, don't settle. Find a place where you're doing the work that you love, but also for the people that you vibe with, that you align with on your core values, that, you know, give yourself meaning. So I've definitely been lucky to find that.
Yes, you are so lucky. Yeah, because you have a lot of different pieces to your creative endeavors, but they all seem to come together to make Caitlin Tupper. How can people find you?
So I'm ctupper.art
Yes.
on almost all of the things, the Instagram, the Facebook.
Okay.
And then I have an Etsy shop as well under my full name, Caitlin Tupper.
Oh, perfect.
Yes, so
So-
Caitlin Tupper Art and Design.
So if people don't find you at these pop-ups, when is your next pop-up?
So my next pop-up is at the Sturbridge Coffee House. I'm going to be there on the 14th from 9 to 1. And typically, just because of the snow, we had to move that out. But from month to month, I'm there on the first Sunday and then the third Sunday of the month.
And they can also find your art that they can purchase at your Etsy store, which is Caitlin Tupper Art.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, great. That's wonderful. I do recommend people go and kind of check it out, though, or take my word for it. Her art is truly magical. I want to talk a little bit about your wearable art, which
Absolutely.
I just love wearable art or usable art just because it has that dual purpose, and then it's such a conversation piece.
It really is.
It really is.
So one of the necklaces that I do are ornamental keys, which are basically a skeleton key where I sculpt different polymer clay elements onto it. So I do typically flowers, mushrooms, different natural elements and aspects to them. The bottle necklaces, these are really special because they've got little miniature sculptures in them. So I've got different styles. You never really know what you're gonna find in these bottles. I put gnomes in them sometimes. I'll do like tacos, sometimes French fries. I've done that before as well. This is a rosebud here, and then I've got a little strawberry as well. And then in these bottles with the little miniature sculpture, which I sculpt under like a tabletop magnifier, which you've seen.
Yes.
So I'll do that to get that level of detail, and then I'll put them in the bottle with different like stones or preserved mosses, different dried flowers. I'm trying to use dried flowers from my garden as well whenever I can. So that's been a nice, fun little addition to my projects as well.
Then you know you're really having a pure product.
Yes.
Yeah, which is really, really cool. I think we got a little moss gnome in the necklace,
Yes.
and it was just so adorable. And it had a little bit of a little mushroom undertone, and it really did have that magical quality, almost like you got a little magic in a bottle.
Like a little pet gnome in your necklace, yeah.
Yes, and I see this little strawberry in here. This is your little Strawberry Fields necklace.
Yes, it is.
And you had mentioned that your passion for art really started at a very young age.
Oh, yeah.
And you loved miniatures and little food replicas,
absolutely did.
and that's continued. Let's talk about your keychains here.
Absolutely, yeah. When I was a kid, I know my mom, she got me this big thing of fake food and just playing restaurant, and I did that with my grandmother as well. So I always was just obsessed with fake food and little miniatures. So it's really nice that I'm able to do that now. But yeah, so my food works its way into different magnets or keychains, just fun little things to add, I guess.
Makes you happy,
It
doesn't it?
does make me happy.
Yeah. You tend to have series. Could you
do,
kind of
yes.
talk a little bit about the series that you do for the gnomes?
Absolutely. So I've definitely had a couple series kind of pop up just over time while working through them. One of them is the little mushroom cap series. So you've got the mushroom with the hat, which is a gnome. Well, sorry, the gnome hat, which is a mushroom cap. Then you also have the newer ones, which would be the chefs. That would be one of the most recent lines. I do other ones for seasonal. So you can see I've got a witch. I do Santa Claus, different seasonal ones. Another series is the Sugar Rush series. So you'll see there's some that have candy elements to them.
Oh, like this little guy
Yeah,
right
that
here.
little guy holding a lollipop, or
Yeah.
the one with the whipped cream on her head, little cupcake looking ones. Yeah, that would be the Sugar Rush series. And then also, I think another series would be the Farmers.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, so there we go. But yeah, they just kind of evolved over time. Another one that I really, really like is the little pink mohawk got the little punk series as well. So
You got the punk rock gnome.
exactly, I love giving them little like nose piercings as well. I don't have an
isn't that
example of
fun?
that today, but it's just so much fun.
All part of your diversity.
Exactly.
I love the ice cream series where they have the
Little cones on the head.
That's, I mean, so much joy.
Yes, and the thing is like the series kind of make themselves once you have that initial concept. So for example, like that ice cream series, like all of the flavors that you can do.
Oh, there's so
And-
many flavors.
And that speaks to specific people too, because I mean, who doesn't have like a favorite flavor of ice cream or a
Exactly.
favorite, snack or something?
So many colors, so
Yes.
many flavors, so much fun.
Just a, yes, absolutely.
And you just recently started doing earrings
I
as well.
did.
Do you want to talk a little bit about
Absolutely.
these?
So it worked. It fit in very well with everything else that I was doing. My partner mentioned, like, you're doing the necklaces, why not try earrings as well? So I gave it a shot. I'm already doing the mini sculptures anyway, so some of them just really lended themselves to the earrings. And then, not everyone, likes to wear necklaces or has like a fridge that they can put art on, but,
Such nice gifts. So I want to get back to your professional work for a moment so that we can talk about how you're using these marketing and social media skills to apply to your own business.
Absolutely. So the thing about systems is they're scalable. So I've been able to take what I've learned at New Perspective at a larger scale and implementing it that way, but also downsizing it to work for me and what I need to do. So a lot of the same tactics that we would do for our clients, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, it's the same equation. It just needs to be scaled down to work for my business and to fit what I need to do. But it's all the same tactics. It's just taking that and applying it, locally, smaller.
Yes,
Yeah.
which is wonderful because it seems to really be working for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been able to kind of get your brand out there, plus allow people who do know about you to see what you're up to kind of
Absolutely.
keep track of what you're making and what you're doing. And when I was checking you out on your Facebook account, I also noticed that you're a hula hooper.
I am.
Oh,
Yes.
so let's talk a little bit about that because you are a professional artist, all of your art basically gets sold or it goes into a gallery. So you're really not doing any art specifically for yourself because now you are professional, but I was kind of curious what you did for fun, and that's exactly it.
That's exactly what I do for fun.
Oh, good. And it kind of gets you into your body because a lot of what you do is kind of like sitting down.
Absolutely.
So talk a bit, how'd you get into hula hooping anyway?
So my really close friend Julie, she is a flow artist. She does hula hooping. I asked her to teach me. She did. We would just kind of summer afternoons going out. I was borrowing her hoop at first and just kind of having fun playing with it. That's really what it became about, was just play. Being able to play together, being able to just dance to music and just let loose, have a little bit of fun. Really, it's been a journey. And then I mentioned that I broke my leg over the summer.
That's right.
That is how I did it.
Oh, hula hooping? Oh,
Hula hooping.
oh no.
Yes, but I'm back to it now. I'm back on both my feet, and I'm still hula hooping.
A broken leg isn't going to get you down.
Absolutely not.
So just to get a little bit back into the New Perspectives and your professional career, how are things changing in this digital space?
So it's changing very rapidly.
It really
Absolutely.
is. It's hard to keep up on all of it. That's what I find really difficult. Even just, posting and, just staying on the up and up of where people are, what are they looking at, what should I focus on, do I have to do all the social media, or are there certain ones that fit better? Can you speak a little bit to how things are
Absolutely.
changing and how you keep up with it and how you might maybe recommend other artists that are trying to get their brand and their name and their work out there?
Absolutely. So You hit it exactly, where it's like, do I have to do all of the social media? And
Right.
the answer is no, you don't have to do anything. But what you want to do is you want to put your effort where you're going to see the most value out of it. So you have to think about where the people are that you're trying to reach. Like, are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Instagram? You have to think about that and think about, who it is you're trying to send your message to.
Right.
You want to be delivering the right message to the right person at the right time, ideally.
Right.
So it's all about really prioritizing your resources. And I know as a small business owner, it's hard because those resources are spread thin. You're doing finances, you're doing the advertising for yourself, plus you're creating the product as well. So you really just need to find what works for you. I think something else that's really good about social media and being an artist and thinking about creating content is you're creating content while you're doing your work. Everything that you're doing, you can take photos of, show the process, show the behind the scenes, be a human. That's huge. And I think it gets lost, especially now with AI getting introduced, which is a whole beast on its own.
Yes.
But it's more important now than it ever was to be authentic, to be human, be yourself,
Yes.
put yourself into your work. And as far as keeping up with trends, it's really just about dedicating whatever time you can daily. I know with New Perspective, I'm very lucky that they give us the opportunity to expand on our own professional development. They give us the opportunity to set our own goals, meet with our higher ups and develop a growth plan for ourselves. So they've given me a really great space to be able to embrace that growth by being able to take the time to stop the productivity and research. To find out what the newest trends are, to find out where the industry is moving so that we can better accommodate for our clients.
New Perspective seems to be super supportive.
They are.
Yes, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So can we speak a little bit to how you find this balance between creating your art, marketing your art, selling your art, and still having a full-time job?
Absolutely. It's really all about routine for me.
Okay.
So a good portion of everything that I do with my art, I'm doing on the weekends, whether it's shows or anything like that. Also studio time, typically that's happening at night after the 8:30 to 5:30 is over.
Right.
So yeah, during my day, it's really about finding the time to be, you want to be mindful about how you're using your time. And really it comes down to routine for me.
Yes.
So, I wake up in the morning, I make sure to wake up early so that I can have some time to myself, have the headspace, take my dog for a walk,
right.
Get out there in the fresh air. And then, I have my focus time where I'm at work and switching gears, I'm at New Perspective all day. They have my 100% focus.
Right.
And then it becomes like my art is like it is my job, it is my business, but at the same time, it's my escape as well. It's a good opportunity to really just get out of the day-to-day, the digital space, the marketing space where it's all moving very fast, and it's my opportunity to play as well.
Yes, when we were in your studio, you kind of took us through your process a little bit, and you were really working with your hands, and there's a lot of science behind like the feel-good chemicals that you get from working with your hands. So it was kind of a gear shift for you, and you were having so much fun, and it did seem very relaxing to you.
It's very grounding.
Yes, and the nature element. Plus, it seemed like you kind of really did flow through a lot of the shapes and different, like the mushroom pieces and then the rose. It seemed like you were able to kind of do it almost automatically, probably because you've done so many and so much of it.
Yes. You get into a flow, like you were saying. When you get comfortable making certain pieces, it just it becomes almost like a meditation for you. You're going about it, you're doing your thing. Now you also have to have time, like if I have got like a large show coming up and I've got, production goals that I want to hit, I have to make sure I carve out the time on the weekends to do that. So again, it comes back to scheduling. But the good thing is once you get, familiar with the different products that I do make, like it just, I'm able to kind of go on autopilot sometimes with some of these things like the mushrooms and the repetitive stuff. But there's always, always, always the place for me to play as well.
Yes.
So like I do have, like I said, the multiple series where it's like I might be doing, 12 mushroom guys, but I can play with the colors. I can play with the features of the people. I can have fun with that.
You could really roll out that pointy hat really quick. It was
Yes.
just like bloop, bloop.
Just like, all right, and there we go.
Cone. There it is. Which is great. That is really great. So I think some people are a little concerned about the direction of technology, including AI, especially artists. I think artists are a little afraid of AI because they're afraid it's going to take their place almost. And you seem to have of course, uplifted perspective on it in that it could help you. How do you think AI can help artists in the future?
So what I've heard, and I forget who said it, was that artists or creatives are not going to get replaced by AI. They're going to get replaced by creatives and artists who are familiar with AI and using it to help enhance them. I know at New Perspective, we like to think about artificial intelligence as the opposite, as intelligence augmentation, where we want to use it to not replace anything that we're doing, like with our mind, like the human brain. We need that. We need that level of personality. We need that judgment, that extra level of QA on that. And just personally, I think that I can use AI as a creative to replace what might be redundant, might take up a lot of the time. As I mentioned, resources are tight, especially when you're a small business, when you're a one-person creative shop. You have to think about what is the stuff that is taking up the most of your time that you can maybe automate, but not necessarily lose that personal touch, where it's like it almost gives you more time to think creatively, to add the bit of you to your projects.
Yes, because there's a lot of mundaneness to a lot of the marketing and business aspect of having your own business.
Exactly.
And you were mentioning how you use Square a lot.
I love Square. Yeah.
Yes, and Square has been able to help you effortlessly track what is kind of selling the most. And I know as a farmer, people don't really think about how important tracking is, especially financially, but you really do need to make what is going to sell.
You do.
Yes.
Absolutely. And that's all about the data. And
It is all about the data.
And your data is only as good as it is clean. So
Yes.
I know it wasn't perfect for me either starting out. I mean, starting out when I first had Square, I was just kind of using it to just do the transactions, but I wasn't thinking about like the actual products that are in there and how I can actually expand on those products and give them variations and labels and all of the good organizational stuff, where when I can look back, I can see not only did I sell X number of gnomes, I sold these types of gnomes.
Yes.
From the different series, the different groupings.
So what are your most popular gnomes?
Oh man, so I'd say the punks are really popular.
Cute.
With the hair, and then absolutely the mushrooms. They've been really, really popular.
And you were saying the coffee, probably because
The
you
coffee
do
for sure.
the
Yeah.
coffee pop-ups.
That's absolutely.
And those are regular. So you can regularly be found at Sturbridge Coffee House.
Sturbridge Coffee House. I've got 3 dates coming up. I don't have them off the top of my head, but you can find them on my social media for Sawdust Coffee as well.
Okay.
Yep, so Sawdust Coffee House in Sturbridge.
Nice.
Yeah, at Sturbridge Coffee House. And the Rose Room would be another coffee shop that I do as well. They're out in Webster.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
And I found you at Timber Yard.
Timber Yard.
Yes. Which is so much fun.
I absolutely love Timber Yard. It's such a great space.
Yes.
And then in the summer, we do the market at Timber Yard.
Yes.
Where you were was the
Right.
market for winter,
Exactly.
where we were inside.
Yes.
But it's nice when like the good weather rolls around, where
Yes.
we're out in the beer garden.
Yeah.
There's like live music.
Yes.
Beer garden is dog friendly, so you'll see lots of fun little puppers, and I
Yes.
love it.
I do too.
Yeah, so I just love that space. And that's actually where I got my start in farmers markets, that avenue as well.
They seem to be really supportive of local artisans.
They really are.
Yes.
It's great.
Because they are too.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
And that's what I found is doing this has given me the opportunity to collaborate with so many small businesses, and I just absolutely love it because behind every small business is someone who is uber passionate about it.
Yes.
So
Yeah, and putting in a lot of hard work. That doesn't always pay off. You know, it's kind of
Absolutely.
like you have to kind of just like get up, get yourself to the table and just start doing something, and then hopefully that'll lead to something that will be one of your magnificent creations.
absolutely.
All right, I got one final question for you.
Sure.
How does, your art create magic? Like how do you find that art is magic? Because isn't that kind of your tagline, art is magic?
That is, yes.
And I can see why, but I want to hear a little bit about why you call art magic.
So why I say art is magic is because it makes you feel something. Like I can create something and it's going to make you feel a certain way. It's, as I said earlier, a lot of times the people who want the projects are something they can't necessarily do themselves. And I love bringing that vision to life. And it's exactly that. It's magic. I'm taking something that didn't exist and I'm creating it for someone specifically. But yeah, it's just creating that emotion, that feeling, that is the art. Not so much just like the gnome here, but the fact that you're so happy to see him, like that feeling. You're going to see him every day. You're going to feel happy. And the fact that I can do that for people just makes my heart so full. So.
It is very uplifting, and there's not that many alpaca farmers out there, so now I never have to be alone again.
I love it.
I got my little gnome alpaca farmer here. So Caitlin does do custom work. You could probably contact her through Instagram, probably, and maybe your Etsy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep. You can send me a message on both platforms if you want a custom order. Absolutely. You can also send me an email, ctupper.art@gmail.com. But yeah, absolutely contact me. Let's get your project moving.
Well, this was so awesome. I'm so happy to have met you and that we're all Spencerites here.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about how open you are to collaborate with other businesses.
Absolutely.
And just being really supportive of small businesses and large businesses in general, especially if they're eco-conscious.
Absolutely.
Caitlin, I want to thank you so much for coming in here tonight.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
Yes, thank you again.
Ah.
I want to thank you all for joining us here at Bring It to the Table. We're going to have more exciting guests coming your way, and we are going to show you more of what is going on right in your backyard. So stay tuned, and Happy New Year.